Okay, so let's get started. In your file that you should have gotten 3 different sizes of the flower petal. Your large, your medium, and your small. I'm putting them on the black so you can see them on this white counter. You will also get one of the bushy branch that has several of the little twigs on them. You'll get a single branch. You'll get I've made this a little bit skinnier. It's like a little woodsy branch. It's almost like after a while, it's like wintertime, so, it's a little bit skinnier. It kind of reminds me of like a little wooden branch. But I also gave you 3 different sizes. This is the same petal, but in 3 different sizes. You have large, medium, and small in that. And with the holly also, this is the large and the small. Now for this one, I cut out just one of each petal for the flower. This is for one flower. So you have your petals, your one bushy branch, one single branch, one twig, 2 hollies, 1 small holly, and the 3 different sizes in the vine. Okay, so I'm doing the white because this is what it looks like in red. It's very pretty. This red can be purchased at any craft store, Michael's, open cardstock at Hobby Lobby or Joann's. Okay, the white. I'm using the white to show you how to colorize the flowers because the sky's the limit when it comes to changing up what they look like, especially in white. This is what it looks like using the red pan pastels inside in the middle of the petals. I think it just looks really classy and it goes really well. This is the same color that is used on here. And when you combine the red and the white, it's just, I don't know, it's just classic. But anyway, okay, so let's get started. So I use pan pastel, but you can also use ink. You can find inks at any local craft store. Color Box, unfortunately, has gone out of business. They're very hard to find now. But you can use any kind of, I think this is a generic one from Hobby Lobby, and they're really cheap. It's just pigmented ink is my favorite to use. It goes on and really smooth and creamy, almost like paint. Some of the typical things that I will use to colorize my flowers, makeup applicators. This is probably one of my favorite ones. But Pan Pastel has tools that you can use with their Pan Pastels, and there's also little ink things in the ink aisles that can help you apply the ink onto your petals. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a wedge. And what I like to do is because I don't want to get any of the straight lines, I'll pinch it like this. And I'll go in. I'm actually going to use some of this to knock off the color. So I like to dip it in the Pan Pastel and then rub it out a little bit, especially on white flowers. Now when you colorize these with using Pan Pastels, you're going to get what typical makeup people would call knockoff. Like there is a lot of powder that can come off of it and go elsewhere. I also recommend using like a wet cloth after you're done just to get the residue off of your fingers. Okay, so I'm going to pinch it like this. Oops, sorry. I'm going to pinch it like this, and I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm just going to do kind of like a circular motion. And how much color you want on your petals is totally up to you. I start in the center, and I just kind of work up, and I don't even really go halfway with it. But this is what it looks like. Sorry, just noticed I'm not in the camera yet. So I'm going to tap it off. I'm going to start in the middle. Circular motion. Whoops. And that's how I do it. Now you would do the same thing if you were using ink. It might take a few times, and also you don't have to knock it off when you're using ink, obviously. So we have all 3 petals that are shaded here. Move this I get back into the screen. Okay. All right, now for your leaves, you can shade these. There's a technique that you can use for snow and adding snow onto your leaves, which is a really super cute way of just kind of dressing it up for winter. But I'm not really going to go into that in this video. So what we're going to do is take our petals. We're going to have a wooden skewer. You're going to take them and you're going to pinch them up to get a hard crease down the center. And you want to do this to all 3 sets of petals. And to your last one. Okay, so you're going to take a wooden skewer or a dowel rod or even the end of a paintbrush. Sky's the limit. Anything that's really thin and round, we're going to put it in between our thumb, sandwich it in between our thumb and the skewer, the paper, and we're going to roll them down. And we're going to do this on all sides, on all petals. Okay. Now you can take your ink after you've done curling the petals down. You can go back on the edges of these little flower petals and tip them in brown if you want kind of a vintage feel to your flowers. And again, I would just use the makeup sponge. I don't typically put my ink pad directly onto my flower petals because mistakes can happen very easily doing that. And it gives it a really harsh look to the edges. But if you find that it works for you, then so be it. I like working with the sponges better, and it gives me a softer look to how they come out, like how the color comes out on the edges. So I'm just going to pounce it in some of this, I think it's like a coffee brown. And see, and it only lightly comes onto the thing. Like if I was to go directly on here, it would just look a lot darker, and that's not the effect that I want. So I'm just going to tap it like this. I'm not sure if the glare is going to show up too much on it. And after we finish getting all of these together, we're going to glue them. Now gluing, you can use hot glue, you can use tacky glue, you can use school glue, it does not matter. For this, I'm just going to use tacky glue, since normally I use hot glue, but I'm just trying to change it up for ones who have seen tutorials before, if I can get my lid off. This is turbo tacky glue, that just means it's going to dry faster, that's all. And I'm just going to put a small amount like this. You don't want to put too much of the tacky glue since you do have time to play with the glue. You don't want glue going out on the sides too much, so I just enough to where it will come in. It's like a really thin layer of it. So as you see, I alternated the petals, and I just went and laid them on top of each other. Now the tacky glue, you'll definitely have time to play around and kind of move your petals around where you want them. Okay, so I just stacked them on top, making sure that none of the petals are laying on top of each other. Petals together. I'm going to set it to the side and let it dry. Now we're going to move on to our leaves. You can, at this point, you can like highlight them or shade them however you like. I'm not really going to get into a whole lot of shading and highlighting in this video, but I did take the edge of this, and it's probably not going to show up in here, with the darker brown, and I would just take my just like we did on the edges of the petal, I would just go around with my makeup sponge and just go and touch the edges, and it just kind of makes it not look so flat looking. I don't know how to explain that, but for example, see, this is our petal before we shaded it. And this is our petal that we shaded. Now with this one, I went with the red pan pastel. And all I did was I took it, I knocked some of it off. And you literally are going to just go on the side. And you're just going to tap it. Okay, just like that. Just gives it pulls in that red. Especially if you're going to use the red and the white together. Or it pulls the red out of the middle too. Okay, so let's move over to this side. So I usually start with my little viney leaves, and I'm just going to pinch them up. It's hard to pick anything up with these nails. And these I'm not sure if I'm going to put the little one on just yet. Hopefully I was in the camera when I was doing that. So that's all I did was pinch them up like that. Okay, so this part I'm going to use hot glue. Just because it needs to hurry up and glue on there. So on the little stem of the leaf, I'm going to put a little bit of, goodness, some glue on it. And right up on one of the petals like this, I'm just going to lay it. This part you can experiment with, okay? It doesn't have to be exactly where I'm putting them. So I've got one of my little layers right here, and I'm probably going to put the next layer right here because I want I want it to expand out, so when I lay it on a package or a board or and these are a little bit too big for cards, just depends on how big your card is. I want the spread to kind of spread out. So I'm going to actually move this down to about right there, coming out. So this is what our spread looks like on our flower so far. I'm going to take the two big holly leaves and I'm going to pinch them up like this. And I'm actually going to attach them together. And I'm going to have this one sit up a little bit higher than this one. Okay. And then I'm going to take the glue and I'm going to glue it. And this is why I do not put my centers in the middle of my flowers, especially when I'm adding leaves to them. So I have the holly on this side. Okay, I'm going to wait for my last holly, and that's just, I want to see where everything is going to kind of go. Okay, so we have our little big bush. And it depends on, you know, what you're going to use this for, but I typically like coming out to the side like that. Let's spread this. Like this. But you can play around with it just to see kind of where it's going. Like, say if you're going to put it on a board here. And you have a lot of open room over here, you can just kind of put it right there. You can kind of play with it if you just want all the green to go up on one side. If you were going to put like a little saying down here, you can just experiment where it's going to go. But for just the leaves, for flowers, just laying on stuff, I'm going to come on the opposite side, come over here on this one, where I put that holly, and lay it right up against that one. Okay. Ooh. Now, I have this little branch guy, and again, it's just kind of however you kind of want to play with it. I kind of want my branch to kind of come out down to the side like that. And that just spreads out my leaf coverage on my flower. So I put it about right there. All right. So now I have this small little vine that's left over. And I'm probably going to put it right against here. I think that looks cute. Actually, no, let's try it like this. We're going to put it right here. If I can get my finger not to stick to it because I have glue on it. So I put it in between the medium one and this little stick guy right here. Okay. So and then I have this left. Let's get the glue off here. And I'm going to put that one, oops, just kind of coming down. Actually, I'm going to flip it. Glue it on the back like this. And it shows it just coming down. Like that. Kind of got pushed up behind this one, but you can kind of take it and have it stick out in front of that vine. So this is what our spread looks like so far. So I have this leftover one, and I'm going to put it right in between these two right here, like that. And that's basically how you just kind of put the spread together on the flower. Then I just turn it upside down like that. Make sure that it's got somewhere to glue onto. And voila, there's our spread for our flower. Okay, our last piece, if you're done and you're, you know, with the leaves, you can cut extra ones out, you can keep going. I also like when I pair them up together like this to add some more of the leaves going. This is a little bit too big, but say if I had an extra stem, I could put it down here with the rest and just keep going with it. So if I was going to cut out 2 flowers, I would just cut enough of the leaves for a second flower, the same amount, and just play with it. It depends on how big your area is. Sometimes if you have a really small area like this, it's fine with just one, and then you can put a little saying or some vinyl down there. It says Happy Holidays, whatever. So here's our stamen. And all I'm doing is I'm going to push them up. I got glue on my hands. Sorry, guys. Let me take this off. Okay. So I pushed up all the little petals like this. And I'm just going to kind of squeeze at the bottom a little bit. Like that. And I'm going to push these down. So it kind of closes them up like this. And all I'm going to do is turn it upside down, put a little bit of glue, and drop it right down in there. And voila. There's our little Christmas flower. Super cute, guys. And the possibilities are endless. It's so pretty. So you can just put it on a little canvas like this. So, now that we've done our flowers, you can put them on these. You can put them on anything, really. I mean, the sky's the limit. But I kind of wanted to show you a little project. I burn candles all the time. Yes, I burn flowers in my candles too. But I was getting tongue-tied there for a minute. I get these at the Dollar Tree. They're very simple, very cute. These would look lovely for holiday gifts, especially when you wrap them up with cellophane. So this one I put a little clip on, but I also have an extra one that does not have a clip, and it's just flat. I added some ribbon to it. And what I was going to do, because I want to change my area up over there in my craft ring, is put this right on the outside of my glass. Now you can get trim at Michael's or the Dollar Tree, anywhere really that sells craft supplies. This time of year, you can even get this at the drugstore, especially if you're like out in the country and you're just not, you just want to run. Sometimes the grocery stores will even have some trim. I know it's weird, but they do. And because they sell Christmas trees and things like that, sometimes they'll have ornaments. So I like the wire, but you don't have to use the wire. You can just use plain. The ones that you can get at the Dollar Tree, they don't have wire, but they're super adorable. And you just have to use a little bit more glue on your stuff. I'm just trying to open this up. These are the ones from the Dollar Tree. And they're super cute. Look at that. That's so cute. And you could wrap it around the glass like this. You don't necessarily have to put a candle in these. You can put candies, however, whatever you want to put inside. So I put a little bit of glue, and I'm going to put it right there. Try to eye it where the middle's at. Just because it's going to go on my little display case over here, I'm just going to eyeball it. So we're going to cut that off. So this is how much we did. We just turned it like this. It just gives us a good eye. And I'm just going to put the glue right where this is. Careful not to burn your fingers. So we have our glass. And then after making our flowers, we're going to just take it, put a little bit of glue on the back of them, and voila. Now sometimes if you don't want to put this whole spread, you don't want to put the whole spread onto the candle, because this is what the side looks like. It's kind of big, and if I was going to put a candle inside of it, I really don't want anything going past this point. So I'm going to take this off real quick, and then I'm going to show you what this one looks like. So I'm going to put a little bit of this. And put it right in the middle. And it's at a comfortable space to where it's not going to go past that lip. And I'm just going to add, let's see, I'm going to add my small little leaf. Pinch it up real quick. These make really cute teacher gifts if your students are in school. And actually that's too long, so I'm going to clip off some of this stem. You could wait to put your leaves on like I'm doing right now. And that just gives you a good idea to where, so nothing's going over or coming down from this. Okay. And I'm going to take my large set. I'm going to trim some of it down since we've already glued the flower onto this. And I'm going to come out to the side right here. Now because this is such a small project, I'm not going to use the big holly leaf, but say if you've already cut out the big holly leaf and you just had it left over because you didn't use it and on your other flower, you can cut these down. And what I like to do is to cut about here, slice it off, pinch it, put some glue on the front and the back just in case it attaches itself, and I'm just gonna drop it down like that. So now I have one of the leaves coming out to the side like that. And here's a smaller leaf. And I'm going to come into the flower right about that. Coming in from the side and kind of letting it glue to the petal. And this little twig, I'm just going to take off some of it. Like this, I'm just going to pull it right off. And I'm going to lay it down in there. Like that. So now I have that coming off to the side. And you can use the long one. This is pretty long. I'm just going to take these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them off like this. And now we have several little tiny branches that we can play with. Like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one. And I'll probably go up right along here. And make some come out to the top like this. And then I'm going to take this one and come out down here. And I've got a really small one that I'm probably going to put like behind here. Now you can continue to add things to this. You can put little holly berries, you can put snowflakes in between, things like that. But I'm just going to stop, and we're going to put our center in, and we're done. I'm going to show you what it looks like with my candle, even though I've been burning it, but it gives you an idea. I'm just right now trying to get my center, my stamens pushed down, so I can pop that right into the center of my flower. And then voila. Super cute project. Very inexpensive project. And let's see. Oops. Don't know where I just set down my candle, but oh, right here. And this is what it looks like. Let's see what it looks like lit. If you're very uncomfortable using this because it is a flame, you can use the battery operated ones. I probably wouldn't put these too high because I don't want my flame or the heat to get to them. I think it looks really cute. But they have like the battery operated ones at the Dollar Tree too. And voila, there you go. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And thank you so much for purchasing the template. If you haven't checked out yet, we have a Facebook group where you can upload your projects that you use with the templates that you buy from the store. It's just kind of a place where you can like just use the templates and show. It's not really a show and tell for anything outside of More Paper Than Shoes. It's just kind of like a little fan group where you can post your work, see what other people use with the templates in the group. Okay, guys? It's just Facebook. Go on there and type in More Paper Than Shoes and you'll see the group. Or the fan page. I'm always sharing little projects that I'm doing with my templates and things like that. You can follow me on Instagram for just keep up to date with new files, project ideas, and things like that. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.